Welcome to Informetica's VIP training series. During this session, you will learn how to create certification paths and certificates with the following steps. Log in as the site administrator. Select the Library tab on the top navigation bar. From the drop-down menu located under Library, select Certifications. After selecting Certifications, you will have access to a list of all certificates in the system listed alphabetically. Navigate to the right-hand side of your screen to filter by specific certification, campus, or by user group. Once you select your filter parameters, you will only be shown the certifications that are available to the groups that you have selected. To create a certificate, select the Create button located on the right-hand side of the screen. Now it's time to create your certification details. Select the name field in the Certificate Details page. Create your certificate name. This is a required field. Create a brief description about your certificate. This is an optional field. Select the status, whether the certification is active or inactive. This is a required field. Choose the duration of the certificate. Never expires or expires. It can be in so many days, months, or years. This is an optional field. Allow recertification rules and select yes or no. Now that we have completed the certificate details section, it's time to create your certification rules. But before we get started, please note, certification rules cannot be edited once they are saved. If you need to change the rules in your certificate, you will need to create a new certificate with your updated rules and then go back and deactivate your previous certificate. So to continue, we are going to create our certification rules. Scroll down to the certification rule box. If you are creating a certificate that requires users to pass one exam in a course in order to earn their certificate, place the number 1 in the box that states, "A user has earned this certification after they pass one of the following." Select the product or course from the drop-down menu. Please note that only active products will show up in the drop-down menu in this area. Select the asset of the course in the drop-down menu, and again, only active assets will be shown in the menu. An example of an asset could be a final test, a module, SCORM, assessments, or evaluations. Now it's time to enter a passing grade as a percentage of the grade that is required to pass their evaluation. Then we are going to select Add and then Save Rule. Please note that two certifications may be identical, but the grade may differ. For example, the same rules might apply to an instructor and a user to earn a certificate. So the same exam must be taken, but the instructor may be required to attain a higher passing grade, whereas the general user may require a lower grade. So in that case, you would be required to create two certificates because their criteria are different. Now we are going to scroll down to the Assign User Groups box, and you will notice Filter Campuses. Select the campus or campuses that this certification applies to. Select the user group or user groups that this certification applies to. You can click to highlight individual user groups, and you can select either the Add or Remove button. You can also select multiple items by holding down the CTRL or Shift keys, or by clicking and dragging with your mouse. Please note that only users in the selected user groups are eligible to obtain the certification, even if they have satisfied all requirements. Now that you have filled in the required fields, you can create a certificate for your learners to print out. So let's navigate to Create Your Certificate. In this area, you can modify the input fields that are added to the certificate. So in this case, we're going to add the first name and the last name of the user who earned the certificate and the certification date. You can also insert images into the certificate from your media library. Now I'm going to provide instruction on additional scenarios that you may encounter. What if there were two courses and the user could take one or the other to pass? We would keep the number of rules at 1, but we would add another rule. So in this case, you're going to add a second rule showing another course. We'll still add the passing grade, but now the users will only have to take one or the other in order to be certified. Again, always make sure that you apply the right campuses and user groups, and when you save it, the certification or the certificate will now appear on the list of your certifications. What if users had already met the criteria of the certificate before the certificate was created? Navigate to Library, Certifications, and then we are going to select Check Eligible Users. It will provide us with a list of all users, and then we can select one, some, or all of them. Then, approve your users. Select Approve and OK. Now, when you select the certificate, you will be provided with a list of names that have had the certification applied to their records. That concludes this session on creating certification paths and certificates. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching.